Hey guys, Prepper Nurse 1 here. Today is April 5th. It is Easter. I hope everybody had a nice Easter with their family. It's about 5 in the afternoon right now. We've just been chilling out all day, not doing much of anything. I wanted to share an experience with you guys that I had when I was 16. I was at a party, we were having the party at our house, and we were all drinking and just kind of hanging out. It was a big room. There was like a couple of rooms. It was like the living room and another room. And, the parents were out of town, so we were having a party, of course, which is what we did back in those days. So we were, hanging out, having a good time. And so the one guy and I started screwing around, wrestling around a little bit. And I thought it was just in fun, but I guess he didn't really like me, which I did not know at the time. But he got me in a chokehold, and I was, sitting there, and he's got his arm like this wrapped around my neck, and I couldn't breathe. Well, one of the things you find out right away when you can't breathe, you can't talk. You can't say, I can't breathe. You can't talk at all. You can't say anything. There's nothing. So all those videos where you see with people saying, I can't breathe, they're still breathing because they can talk. When you cannot breathe, you cannot talk. Okay? So that's a clarification I want to put out there right away. So all of a sudden I realized now I can't breathe. So of course, first of all, it's pure panic that comes over you when you realize you can't breathe. So then I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because he's obviously not letting go. So I was hitting his hand at first, and he wasn't letting go. So I look and I see some of my buddies sitting on the couch, and so I'm motioning to my buddy like this. I'm going, come here, come here. And he's like, he's all hammered out of his mind. He's like, yeah, man, I see ya. So it's really, really weird. You fight, fight, fight to survive. And then once you realize that there's nothing else you can do, you just give into it. And it was really, really weird because a calm came over my body. I mean, I just became very calm, and I accepted the fact that I was going to die. And the next thing I remember, and this is the wildest thing about this whole experience, it's obviously a near-death experience. So the weirdest thing was, the next thing I remember, I'm looking down from the corner of the room, and the only way that I can describe it is that it was my mind and my eyes. Is the only way I can describe it, because I remember looking down from the corner of the room, seeing myself sitting on the floor in a sitting position with my legs, spread out like this. This guy's on one knee behind me and one arm up, and he's got his, like this, and he's locked in, and he's choking me out. And I remember looking, and I looked in this room over here, and I looked in that room over there. Stop it. And so I looked over there, and I'm going, and I see all the people, and I'm going, well, this is really weird. I remember thinking to myself, but there was no fear. That's the biggest thing I can remember. There was absolutely no fear. I was in a complete peace, and it was absolutely wild, experience for me. So the next thing I know, after that, it was like a rushing sensation where my mind and my eyes went back into my body. Okay, and I guess what happened, what I found out later, was my sister realized something was wrong. She made the guy let go of me, and I guess my eyes rolled back into my head, and I fell straight back on the floor. Well, they were able to bring me back around. But ever since that experience, at 16 years old, and now I'm almost 50, I've never had a fear for death, because whatever's going to happen next, it's nothing to be afraid of. Whatever happened to me at that particular time, with that situation that happened, I almost died. But I was not afraid, and there was no fear. It was a complete and utter peace that came over me. Now, I know other people have said they see the white lights and all this stuff like that. I never saw anything like that, but I just know that there was no fear, and it was a complete peace that had come over me, and it was like the coolest thing ever that I've ever experienced in my life. So, because of that experience, I have never had a fear of death ever since then. Now, do I want to die? No, obviously not. But I don't know, and I don't claim to know what's going to happen next, but I know what happened to me in that situation. And it was very, very wild. I mean, it was like, and it's hard to explain other than the way I've just explained it to you, but it was like that complete peace that comes over your body when you accept what's happening to you and you just let go. And then, what happened after I let go, it was absolutely wild. But I mean, that fear and everything leading up to it as you're fighting to live and to survive, and then you just go, well, there's nothing else I can do. I've done everything that I can, and you just let go. It's an experience that, like I said, I'll never ever forget it, and it was really really interesting. If anybody else has had a near-death experience and want to share it with me, I would appreciate that. I mean, I'm sure it's happened to a lot of people, a lot of different scenarios of things that have happened. Like I said, I've heard other people say they saw a white light and they went towards the light. I did not see that. Like I said, maybe I didn't get that far into it. But like I said, what I experienced was, basically I was up in the corner of the room, looking down into the room, and seeing everybody and seeing myself and just being like really like, wow, this is really weird. So it was very wild, and I'll never forget it. All right, well, thanks for listening, and again, happy Easter, everybody. Prepper Nurse one out for now.